What's up, Milk the Man? It is week 2 in the books. I'm going to start where I started last week with the week 2 report. Coming away with the best team of the week this time around is STDs at 172 points. Unfortunately, I had to play him. The worst team, once again, the Human Torch, changing his name, but not changing his game. 82 points scored, worse than last week. You're abysmal. I can't believe you outdid yourself. Last week you scored 92 at the lowest points. The first week you were the lowest points by 2. And this week you're the lowest points by 2. The Human Torch still finds a way to win the prize of the lowest total points. Biggest blowout, and therefore your milked on award goes to Too Legit to Quit. 143 to 84. Mud Dogs got milked upon. Genty gets the Milk Award. Manager of the Week. STDs with a total of 172 points. Maxed out his team's total. Only 2 teams that could have beat him if they were just as perfect this week was Pukami and Aniup. Well, let's get into the matchups for week 2. Big Bark versus STDs. STDs, as we know, scored 172 points. The Big Bark's 126. That is a whopping victory. It's just about 40 points. Congratulations. You obliterated my team and you moved to 2-0. There's not many of you out there. Next, we've got Vinsanity versus No Pain No Gain. Vinsanity takes it 142 to No Pain's 129. Close-ish game. You've got Jordan Love as quarterback, scoring at 24 points versus Baker Mayfield, scoring at 22 points for No Pain. A pretty good QB showdown right there. This could have been the difference in the game right here. No Pain has an injured player, Jaden Reed. He scored 14 last week, so let's just say he scored 14 this week. You would have beat Vinsanity by 1 point. That's just how fantasy works. Both teams at 1-1. Then you've got Zombie Ate My Neighbors versus Aniup. Aniup takes this one 152 to Zombie's 111. Aniup moves to 2-0. Very strong statement. Zombie at 0-2. Aniup here. Week 1 at 169. Week 2 at 152. You look like a decisive undefeated team. All right, then we've got Tush Push to Browntown versus the Human Torch. The Human Torch coming in last place in scoring 2 weeks in a row. I don't know if it's bad luck at this point. We got Tush Push at 125 to the Human Torch's 82 points. Maybe it's safe to say that Danny is in too many fantasy football leagues at this point because this guy does not have a kicker on his team. Danny seems to have put more work into giving each of his players nicknames than actually figuring out his starting lineup. Your team looks like a lost cause. You, sir, have embarrassed yourself. Next, we've got Burrow My Dicker versus Pukami. Pukami taking this one 154 to Burrow's 119. Burrow My Dicker, your team looks really shaky. You got a total of like 4 points from your flex positions combined. This is why you have fallen at 0-2. Pukami is 1-1. Pukami's looking excellent, scoring a massive dump on Burrow. And lastly, we've got Mud Dogs versus Genty. Genty takes this one at 143 to Mud Dogs 84. Genty rises to 2-0. Mud Dogs falls to 1-1. Genty, even with your quarterback scoring literally less than a point, your team scored 143. It's insane. Your flex combined scored nearly 40 points. Your kicker himself scored 21 points, and your defense at 16. Dude, you killed it. And then let's look ahead, get some predictions for week 3. Big Bark versus Burrow My Dicker. Burrow needs a quarterback. Once you get that figured out, I still think that you're going to fall behind and fall to 0-3. Big Bark would be 2-1. Next, we've got Vinsanity versus Zombie Ate My Neighbors. Not many injuries for either team. That's going to be a pretty good game. I'm going to be nice to Zombies and say, you know what? He's going to take his first win. He's going to be 1-2. Vinsanity falls to 1-2. Dare I say the game of the week? Next, we've got No Pain, No Gain versus Aniup. Because Aniup has looked so strong the first 2 weeks, he is seeded as the number 1 team. I think he'll take this to 3-0. And No Pain, No Gain, though, I think you're going to put up a good fight. You're going to fall to 1-2. That's just the way that it works when you're facing the machine of Aniup. Next, we've got Tush Push to Browntown versus Genty. Because Genty is the weakest of the undefeated teams, I'm going to go ahead and choose Tush Push for this one. So Tush Push is going to take this one. It'll be Tush Push at 2-1 and Genty at 2-1. Next, we've got the Human Torch versus Mud Dogs. 2 of the potentially worst teams in this league. This is going to be the worst game of the week. It is going to be the least competitive. I think that neither team is going to score more than 100, and I do think that Danny's going to get his first win of the season if he decides to actually put a kicker in. So it's going to be Danny, the Human Torch at 1 and 2, and Mud Dogs at 1 and 2. And finally, we've got STDs versus Pukami. Pukami is a strong candidate to knock STDs down to his first loss of the season. Pukami, if you can coach right, put all the right players in, I think you're going to take this win. However, because it's oftentimes difficult to project who's going to score the most, STDs simply has the better starting lineup, so I'm going to choose STDs for this one. He's going to push it to 3-0, and Pukami's going to fall to 1 and 2, and that's it, fellas. Don't forget to substitute for your hurt players. Don't forget to get your quarterbacks out there, to put your kickers on the field. This is football, and everybody wants to play. Let all other fantasy football leagues that you're into come secondary, because you know what? No one wants to get milked on. Gents, enjoy week 3.